As I mentioned earlier on, we're chatting all things jazz this April month. We're going to continue to delve in a little bit further. It's really just a chance to shine a spotlight on the inclusive movements that debunk the myth that jazz music has a particular genre or as a particular traditional crowd. NarowBi, it's a Joburg-based creative collective that's redefining the jazz experience for audiences of all ages through the innovative Kids Love Jazz concept. And so this all ages event series is a refreshing take on jazz. It's aimed at making the genre accessible and also enjoyable for everyone. Kids Love Jazz series serves as a reminder of the genre's potential to connect across generations. And so the brains behind this concept joins us now. Vuyo McGlad, we've also got Banele Mhlanga, and we've got another lady, Nkabinde, who's joining us for this chat. Good morning to all three of you. Thank you for making time.
Thank you for having us.
This is so exciting. It's cross-generational. I mean, we were chatting early on about how, the role of jazz in terms of our freedom as a nation. And so now when we redefine what it means, obviously the next generation has to have their say. So tell us how you would have found each other, grouped together. What are you going to also impart for this juncture that you find, where we find ourselves in jazz? Who wants to take that?
I'll take it. Yeah. So firstly, Kids Love Jazz is a sister to NarowBi. NarowBi is like a mother agency.
Gotcha.
So how we go to curate Kids Love Jazz, I think we saw a gap that there's this conception that jazz is for old people,
yes.
So we felt like, I think we went to Jazz in the Lights and we were so inspired by a performance by Kujenga where a lot of the youth just went in front, they were going crazy over a young band, So we thought maybe let's just create a space where we can have everyone. It could be inclusive for everybody, not just for a certain status in society.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I mean, all of us grew up on it, right? And so obviously it would have influenced us. And so it shouldn't have an age. Perhaps people are old souls as well. But if we're looking at workshops, if we're looking at developing jazz, if we're looking at really impacting the youth and making it more inclusive, what goes into that?
Okay, so what we do at Kids Love Jazz, we make sure that we don't only get commercial artists to perform, we get non-commercial artists. We work with bands from Wits University. Right, currently we're working on an event that we're going to be having in Cape Town, still with a jazz band that was formed from UCT. So we try and make sure that we include non-commercial artists, not just commercial artists as well. Okay,
cool. So Yamukela, let me bring you into the conversation. Tell us about your journey and perhaps what you're going to be offering through this experience. What can we expect?
I think for me, jazz evokes more of an emotional feeling because it kind of awakens memories that I thought, memories that were lost or forgotten in a sense of with my family. So I think jazz.
It's nostalgic.
Yeah, it is. And jazz tells a story. And I think with Kids Love Jazz, we've managed to gather everyone who has a story and everyone who wants to share their story. And it's a very beautiful thing to watch. It's a very beautiful thing to experience. And yeah, the kids love jazz, man. We love jazz.
It does, because it also takes you on a roller coaster of emotions, right? And there's healing. So if you're going to delve into the despair, but there's also the hope that comes. And so thank you for speaking to that holistic experience. For you, Banele, what's your involvement? What's the experience of jazz when you immerse yourself in it? What's birthed through that with you?
Well, jazz, growing up listening to jazz, I know old people listen to jazz. It was never like our age group, so I'm very happy that we actually created like a platform for, like all ages, to listen to jazz, because jazz is not only like old jazz, there's alternative jazz, there's different types of jazz, even on my piano, we get jazz now, from your Kelvin Momo, you released like a jazz album. So I think we just, we created this platform just to highlight that, for people.
So managing those perceptions, what remains the biggest challenges then? I mean, are older generations questioning your knowledge and your understanding? Are they being helpful? I mean, tell us about that immersive experience, especially when you're trying to bridge everything.
I think
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's not the older generation that's kind of questioning if we know what we're doing, but it is like the older generation because they're hesitant with the name, like Kids Love Jazz.
Okay.
So this one time, because we have merch, so we're selling merch, and this lady was like, but I'm not a kid, Musa, I'm like 40, can I not, you know? So
Okay.
we had to explain that, no, it's not that we're not calling you a kid, it's just wordplay. So
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
the youth, yes, copy.
And perhaps there's an inner kid at heart in all of us, right? So beyond that misperception that was dispelled, what other feedback then have you gotten from those that have been part of your work, that are also looking forward to your future endeavors and what you're envisioning?
So I think for me, the crazy thing, I kind of run the social media pages as
Okay.
well. So the crazy thing that I've seen so far is that when I was looking at the insights, you know, so it's like 45% 25 to 35-year-olds, which is crazy for me, you know. Okay. So the feedback that we get, like when we go outside from people, older youth, you know,
Sure.
they all just say, nah, we should remove the kids. But then they're the ones they're the majority that come to the Kids Love Jazz shows.
And because you want everyone involved. Talk to us about your presence across the country, across the continent as well. What do those long-term plans also look like in terms of representation? Yeah.
So we actually planning Kids Love Jazz Cape Town.
Okay.
So that's one way we are trying to like expand. You know, we want to start nationally first before we take it international. But I guess that is the plan. You know, we plan on taking it international.
It's also community affair, right? Because everyone has to get involved. And so what does that look like practically when you're going to be growing and selecting the artists? You mentioned it's not just going to be commercial. I mean, it's also undiscovered, it's underground, it's people who are emerging. Tell us about that collaborative affair that we can expect.
Okay, so I think firstly I just want to bring the chat of the merch.
Yeah,
know.
okay, sure.
So
be kind to this art.
Be kind to this art, but then at the back it has Kids Love Jazz, you know. Okay. So kind of like when you buy the merch, you're also part of the movement, you know. Okay. So I think so far we've sold like more than 165 T-shirts. Okay. So we've sent our T-shirts to places where currently we cannot host events at like Durban, like your PMB, you know. So people are buying, people are moving into, people are part of the movement, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if they want to keep that conversation going with you and find out more, what are your social media platform handles and how do they do that?
So it's Kids Love Jazz, at Kids Love Jazz on all socials. And then there's also NarowBi, NAROW_BI.
Okay, thank you guys. All the best. Looking forward to this. I know April is Jazz Month and there's plenty more action for the rest of the year. Keep up the great work and keep flying the flag high for our country as well.
Thank you.
So this morning, co-founders of NarowBi, Vuyo McGlad, Banele Mhlanga, as well as Yamukela Nkabinde this morning, chatting about how their concept, Kids Love Jazz, is inviting and creating that atmosphere where families and young music lovers can explore the genre in an engaging and interactive way, and of course, merge the next generation.